You're listening to the Marketing Funnel Show, episode number 20. Once upon a time, back in 2013, I wrote a guest blog post that went crazy, and I got thousands of opt-ins within a couple of weeks. But don't think that was a happy ending. It wasn't. I actually created a list of people who grabbed my freebie and promptly forgot all about who I was. Don't make this same mistake. It's painful and expensive. Instead, today, I'm giving you a better way. And bonus, you can do this almost for free. Welcome to the Marketing Funnel Show. I'm your host, Michelle Evans, and this is the podcast for coaches, experts, and online business owners to learn how to go from simply surviving to sold out using the power of marketing funnels. All right, let's jump into today's show. Hey there, welcome to today's show. Well, I'm sure you've heard this spoken, from the rooftops, from the rafters, from on high, many times before, right? Build your list. The money is in your list. You've got to focus on building an email list. And I'm here to tell you that there is nothing wrong with building an email list, but don't be fooled that money is suddenly going to start falling from the sky when you have an email list. It won't. You have to build your email list in a really specific way, in a really intentional way, in order for you to have a list that actually does turn into money, that actually has people on it who are eager to buy from you. And I found this out the really hard way. And today I'm going to break down a specific kind of funnel for you that will help offset this hard way that I found out, because it took me a while to figure out what I did wrong and how to fix it. And so the funnel that I'm going to break down for you is called the Cash Infusion List Building Funnel. That's what I call it. Some other people might call it a front-end funnel, a break-even funnel, a tripwire funnel. Like, there's lots of things that people call this. So you might have heard it by a different name before. But I'm going to break it down as the Cash Infusion List Building Funnel. And how I'm going to frame it up for us today for our discussion is for people who don't have something huge to sell at the end, like a big product, program, or service. But honestly, this funnel works for every single business. Any business can use this funnel. But it works really well for those who are just getting started and just are like, what could I possibly offer that could get people in to know that I'm actually a business, even if I don't have something huge to offer at the end. And so I'm going to break this down to you. So as you're sitting there thinking, any business can use this. I'm just going to put that out there. But this is especially for you if you're just trying to figure out, what is that first thing that I could potentially offer? So let me start off with the story so you can understand where I'm coming from as I teach about this. And then we'll dive into how you can use this, okay? So first of all, the whole story about, build your list and the money will follow. So I started my business in January of 2012 full-time. I actually started it in 2011, but I went full-time in 2012. And all 2012, I went full-time in January. The whole 2012, all I heard from every corner of the interwebs was guest blogging was all the thing, right? Nowadays, you hear about Facebook Lives and video and that's all the thing. But back then, it was all, I sound like it was 100 years ago. Well, it kind of feels like that in entrepreneur years. But back then it was all about guest blogging. And so I took a couple guest blogging courses and I kind of sharpened up my chops on, all right, I guess I need to really start pitching myself. And one of my first big, quote unquote, big, you can't see my fingers, but I'm doing air quotes, big guest blogs that I landed was on Brazen Careerist. And at this time, I was really kind of doing career coaching with a focus on professionals who wanted to find more meaning in the work that they were doing. And I was really working with people who wanted to figure out how to get out of a career and start their own business. So I did this guest blog on Brazen Careerist, which had, it took off like crazy. And I'll link to it in today's show notes. So if you want to go to themarketingfunnelshow.com/20, just the number 20, you can take a peek at this. It's weird because when you go to the Brazen Careerist, it says it's by this guy named Joe Mader. But if you scroll down, you'll see the author note is me. They updated their site, and I don't know what happened with this. But the title of it is 4 Headline Hacks to Create an Irresistible LinkedIn Profile. And I go through, 4 headline hacks that you can use to create a really great, profile that's right underneath your picture. And I give some different formulas that you can use. And I have a free report, 5 simple LinkedIn hacks to create a profile that rocks, even if you're not looking for a job. And it says it's for seriously helpful advice to stand out as the valuable pro that you are. And this opt-in went bananas. Within just a few weeks, I had somewhere around 3,500 to 4,000 people opt in for it, which sounds amazing, right? It sounds absolutely amazing. And, if I stopped there, you'd probably be going, wow, Michelle, I think I need to go guest blog. But, hold your horses before you go running off to the guest blogosphere, because let me tell you the rest of the story here. So the first thing is, because I had all these people opt in, all of a sudden the cost for my email autoresponder went way up. Like I went from, I don't know, at that time I might have had like maybe 80 people on my email list, maybe less, to, like 4,000. And so suddenly my autoresponder cost a lot more each month, and I wasn't planning on that all of a sudden. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And I wasn't planning on it. I wasn't budgeting for it. I didn't actually have any extra revenue coming in from all these people on my email list. And so I was like, okay, all right, I got to figure this out. So that was thing number 1. Thing number 2 is a lot of the people who opted in for it, which is why I don't know exactly how many opted in. It might have been more than 4,000, but a bunch of people who opted in opted right back out. So they opted in, they got their free report, and then they opted right back out. And I was like, oh, that kind of stinks. So that was kind of frustrating because at the end of the day, at that time, the person or the company that I was using for my autoresponder, they would send me a report of people who opted out. So I'd get this great report of people who opted in, and then I'd get this report of people who opted out, and I was like, well, that kind of stinks. And then as time went on, I started noticing that a lot of these people who opted in, they never again opened another email from me. And so, I hadn't really established myself as somebody that they wanted to hear from. So they got my freebie, and then that was kind of it. Like it was a one and done, a one-shot wonder kind of thing, right? So I had all these people flood into my email list. It cost me a lot more money for my autoresponder. And then I didn't do a good job in warming them up, in setting the stage for what I could offer them. So I basically just had this big list of names of people who really had no idea who I was, what I offered, why they should pay attention to me, what I could give to them, nothing, right? And that was really a really, really painful lesson. And for a long time, I was in denial about it. I was like, no, I have all these names. I can really, make something of it. I can, do a lot of great stuff with it. I can do webinars. I can do, whatever. I can do all sorts of stuff. And I tried a lot of stuff, but because these people weren't connected to me, they just read a guest blog on the Brazen Careerist, and they saw that I had this freebie, but I didn't lay the groundwork for why they would want to hear more from me. I didn't do any Facebook ad retargeting with them. I didn't have any funnel laid out to take them through an experience. It was just basically like, oh, opt in for your freebie. Here's your freebie. off you go. And then, back to business as normal. And they were like, I'm not really into business as normal. I want to talk about these headline hacks, right? And that's where I went wrong, is that I didn't meet them at the conversation that they wanted to have. And so if you're out there trying to build a list, trying to attract your audience, trying to engage your audience with you, trying to get them ready to buy from you eventually, I want to make sure that you don't do that same thing, because eventually all those people either unsubscribe themselves, or I eventually unsubscribe them because they never, ever, ever engaged with me. They never opened emails. They never wanted to do anything with me. And, eventually I just moved on. And so that was a really, really painful lesson for me. And it just really showed me that you have to be intentional when you build your list, and you have to be really intentional about how you not only attract them, but once you've attracted them, you have to be really intentional about the experience that you lay out for these people that join your list, because it's not just about saying, hey, come, be on my list, but it's about, helping them see you as somebody who can really help them. And so one of the things that I discovered, especially when I was going out to cold traffic. So, if I'm going out and I'm going out to somebody else's audience, for example, and doing a guest blog, or I'm doing a webinar for somebody else's audience or something like that, and I invite them, or I'm doing a guest podcast or something, and I invite them to my freebie, I'll lay out a really specific funnel experience for them once they opt in that helps them get to know me a little bit more. And part of that is, they get their freebie, and then on the next page, when they opt in, there's not just a, hey, thank you, go check your email, your freebie's there. But I want to start taking them deeper into that journey. And part of that for the Cash Infusion list building funnel, part of that would be, hey, thanks for getting this. Do you want to go even further with this? Here's a great offer that I have for you that's very inexpensive that can take you further faster. So if you want to see one of these in action, you can go and see one of my Cash Infusion list building funnels. If you go to michellelevans.com/podcast, you can see the blog post. It's a blog post that a lot of cold traffic goes to every single day. Google links to that page a lot. And you can opt in for the podcast guest pitch template. It's free. And once you opt in for that, you're going to see what happens next on the thank you page that creates the Cash Infusion list building funnel. And you can just see, basically it says, hey, thanks for opting in for this pitch template. Would you like to go even further with this pitch template? I've gathered up 200 podcasts that you can pitch yourself to right now. Would you like to buy this? And all you need to do, and it's a really simple PDF download. And all you need to do this is a simple PDF download. You could have an audio download, just something that you want to sell that's anywhere from $7 to maybe up to $47. And you are ready to go. It's just an easy way to offset your business costs, your Facebook ad costs, anything with going out there and getting visible and helping people to realize that you actually are in business and you're not just in the business of giving everything away for free, but also it's if you do it right. So if somebody comes to that podcast page and they're really interested in pitching themselves to podcasts to be a guest, so I'm giving them a free template to do that on the first page. But the next logical step is, hey, would you like 200 podcasts with the host's contact information, the URL for the podcast, all of the pertinent information for you to pitch yourself to? Would you like that ready to go in a document that all you have to do is click and pitch yourself? Like that's the perfect way to use this cash infusion list building funnel, because it lets people take that freebie and go a giant step further in using it. Does that make sense? So they already got their free thing that they opted in for, but this just takes them a lot further in being able to use it. So they got the free thing that they wanted, and they can use that, and they can, click off of the page, and they got exactly what I promised that they would get. But if they want to go further and say, hey, she's already done all the legwork for me to gather up 200 podcasts that I could just go use this free template to pitch myself to, why not just spend a tiny bit of money to get that, and I'm off to the races to use this thing? That's where your cash infusion list building funnel comes in. And so for you, what I would ask you to do is to say, all right, what am I going to use for this freebie up front? And what's something that is kind of the logical next step to help them take a giant step forward that I could sell for something that might be like $7 to maybe up to $47? That would be a really, really easy sale to take them that giant leap forward. So all you have to do is ask yourself that, and that's how easy this funnel can be. And then you just kind of lay out like, hey, I can get you that next step further into where you want to go with your goals with this freebie, and where you want to go with your business. And then, of course, you want to have a few emails on the back end to help them get to know who you are, how to use these pitch templates, maybe some, or for me, the pitch templates, for you, whatever your freebie is. And, maybe some, some help become a little relatable to where they are in relation to whatever you're giving away for your freebie, and, just start to build up some of those relationship things. So you're sharing a bit about where you were in your journey when you started building these or using these, and how it helped you come along, so they can see themselves in your journey, and just start building those relationships. That if I would have done that when I had this Brazen Careerist guest blog post, I would have had a truly different business. I know without a doubt I would have, but I didn't even know that this was possible. Like, it didn't even enter my mind. I was just so laser focused on getting names onto my email list that all of these other possibilities never even entered my mind. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to share this with you today, is because I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who were like me back in 2013. You just didn't even really think about these things. Or if you did think about it, it was like, I'm not sure how that could really work. So hopefully, you could go take a look at that example. You can think about how that could work in your business. And if you want even more examples, or to know which marketing funnel is right for you in your business, I have created a totally free and easy quiz to help you figure that out. So all you have to do is head on over to today's show notes, which again is at themarketingfunnelshow.com/20. And in less than 5 minutes, you'll know exactly which funnel is right for you. And if it's this funnel, I'll take you through exactly how it's laid out. I'll give you some easy, couple of clicks, and you can put it into ClickFunnels and you're off to the races, and I'll walk you through how they work. If it's a different funnel, I'll do it for the other funnels as well. So you'll get some training on how to use those. All right, so there you go. Some food for thought on how to use the cash infusion list building funnel to get started in creating a list of people who think of you not only as an expert, not only as somebody who has some great valuable content, but also as a business owner who has great stuff that they want to buy. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. See you later. Bye.